together, nothing can stop us from moving Fall River forward.
This Fall River City Council meeting will now be called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilors Kadim?
Here.
Dion?
Here.
Kilby?
Here.
Lullaby LeBeau?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Peckham?
Here.
Pelletier?
Here.
Pereira?
Here.
And President Ponti.
Here, pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call the order the school committee for the March 9th, 2021 joint meeting with the City Council. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Aguiar?
Here.
Mr. Costa?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Hutzler? Mr. Corey? Here. Ms. Larrabee? Mayor Coogan?
At this time, I would like to welcome to the City Council chambers the Honorable Mayor Paul Coogan.
Thank you. We will get right into this. I appreciate it. Good evening, honorable members of the council, school committee, and citizens of Fall River. It's an honor to be with you as I deliver the 2021 State of the City Address. As is typical of my administration so far, this is still an unusual address. First, because I am speaking to a limited group of people, and I am only able to share this ceremonial event with our residents virtually. Secondly, this is an unusual address because I delivered a speech very similar to this only 4 months ago. That is because less than a week before my first State of the City address last March, we had to reschedule. It is quite symbolic of my term as mayor. Much like that speech, many of my plans were quickly rescheduled and reprioritized. I spent a lot of my address in November discussing COVID-19, what we did to curb the virus and support our hospitals, nursing homes, and businesses in the very early days. I would like to repeat what I said then. I am incredibly proud of the way that Fall River has come together in the face of this pandemic. Our rich history as a mill city proved to be an asset to us. Our local manufacturers showed impressive adaptability as they became some of the largest domestic producers of PPE, and they made sure to all give back to our city. Our service providers also stepped up in a big way, shifting gears to make sure families were fed and our children were taken care of. Fall River has not one but 2 hospitals and no shortage of medical offices. I cannot give enough credit to the doctors, nurses, and medical staff who pushed on through this pandemic. Not to mention our teachers, essential workers, and public safety team who kept our world turning despite all of the uncertainty and the changes that came their way. Anyone that worked through this pandemic was doing a great service to all of us in the city. I would like to pause for a moment to really, really, truly thank them. While last year we were focused on masks, shutdowns, and social distancing, we have quickly changed our focus to vaccines. Vaccines have always been our way out of this. When December came around and vaccines were finally ready to be rolled out, our administration and state delegation kicked into high gear. At the request of the state, our very own health department launched a clinic at Bristol Community College with the help of the fire department and EMS. It was a fantastic collaborative effort, starting with a small first responders clinic that grew into a well-oiled machine that could vaccinate hundreds of people a day. When South Coast Health rose to the occasion and challenged to open a vaccine site, they narrowed in on a function hall at the Liberal Club. What is normally a staple for weddings and fundraisers is now an impressive vaccination site in our South End. We also supported another partnership between the Housing Authority, Health First, and our EMS to bring mobile vaccine sites to Housing Authority senior living complexes. This way, we were able to eliminate some transportation issues that may have otherwise been a barrier to getting the vaccine for some of our residents. Unfortunately, we have constantly been limited by this national vaccine shortage. But that hasn't stopped my administration and our state delegation from continuing to lobby everyone from Beacon Hill to Capitol Hill to make sure Fall River gets its fair share of doses. I also want to take a moment today to share a hopeful story about what vaccines have mean to our community. When we first opened up Bristol Community College, I was walking around up there and all the chairs were full, and there was a lady sitting there crying, and she was just really crying. I said, "Hey, you okay?" I thought she was having a reaction to the shot. But she was so thankful, she couldn't even stand or talk, and she grabbed my hand and she said, "I have not left my house since March, and now I'm finally going to get a chance to get back into living." And I was so happy for her because it was really emotional for a lot of those people, and it meant that much to them. However, vaccines didn't come soon enough for far too many of our residents. Early on in this pandemic, our nursing homes were almost like war zones. Their staff often fought to keep those residents safe from the virus, but they could not save everyone. We have lost 331 of our residents, both in and out of nursing homes. And many of these residents passed away in distressing circumstances, where loved ones may not have even been able to say goodbye. My heart goes out to those affected, and I would like to take a moment of silence for the lives lost to COVID-19. We're working on a plan for a much more fitting tribute to all of our victims a little later this year. There is no denying the impact that the virus has had on all of us. We have a lot of work to do to recover, to get our students back in the classroom, to revive our arts and cultural events, to support our businesses as hopefully they return to normal. We must bring back lost jobs and ensure that families can survive through these very difficult times. But before I get along too far in the speech, I want to acknowledge the team that got the city, myself, through the darkest days of 2020, and it truly does take a village, and I could not do the job without these people. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our federal delegation, Senators Markey and Warren. I talk to both of them frequently. Our representatives, Keating and Auchincloss, as well as our former representative, Joseph Kennedy. State Senator Mike Rodrigues, our state representatives, Carol Fiola, Alan Sylvia, and Paul Schmidt, and the very, very important people sitting in this room today with us that were nice enough to come down, the president and members of the city council. I also want to acknowledge the team I work with, our Fall River School Committee. And we work closely with this group, all of whom are committed to getting things done and making sure Fall River is a better place to live. Of course, I must also thank all of our city employees who have endured so much, including the department heads and the team who work with me directly on the 6th floor every day. Ann, Jane, Sid, Elena, and Deborah. They are the people I turn to every day, and I would not be able to do this job without them. All these individuals support me in achieving a unified vision for Fall River, a vision where residents are safe, where streets are clean, and where we have a vibrant economy with plenty of places to go and things to do. I also have to, of course, thank my wife, Judy, for her love and support over this very difficult year. And believe me, this is a nonstop job. She's my partner, and I love her. Finally, I want to acknowledge the people of Fall River. They have risen to the challenge. They stun me every day. They carry the future of our city on their backs, and they are doing a great job. Residents, you are Fall River's true warriors, surviving a pandemic and many crises. You have my utmost respect. Now let's get to the proper parts of the State of the City address. So today, building on a moment of hope, I would like to spend more time talking about where we are as we prepare for our future. While we still have a long way to go, I am glad to be making this 2021 speech at a more hopeful moment as we continue vaccinations, getting our kids back to school, and reopening the economy. For nearly my entire term, I've been called a COVID mayor. And maybe in 50 years when the history books look back at me, I guess I will be known as a COVID mayor. However, being mayor of Fall River has been so much more than COVID-19. Despite the pandemic, we were able to accomplish many positive changes for the city of Fall River. We were able to navigate the restrictions of COVID and operate efficiently despite all of those challenges. Today, I will be highlighting some of the accomplishments during my first year. I want to break down the address by section so that we can lay out a transparent, clear discussion of how far we have come despite the pandemic. There is much to be proud of and much to celebrate, and we should all be proud of that. I would like to begin first with public safety. We appointed a new police chief, Jeff Cardoza. In the last year, we have seen a dramatic drop in all but 2 of the 8 areas of both violent and property-related crimes. We've hired former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis to do a performance audit on the Fall River Police Department. We expect that report later this month. We've expanded professional development opportunities for our Fall River Police Department, including de-escalation training and conversational Spanish. We are now piloting a body camera program after successful negotiations with the police union. We're getting ready to roll out the cameras for our walking beat first. We obtained $50,000 for a neighborhood policing program. We formed partnerships between the school committee and the city to install 20 surveillance cameras, 10 permanent and 10 mobile. We also allocated $100,000 for turnout gear for the fire department, and we're also finalizing separate plans for a state-of-the-art building for EMS. We have also provided the fire department with the equipment and heated tent necessary to run their very own COVID-19 testing site. And we're currently exploring opportunities through the SAFER grant to hire 5 additional firemen. We just welcomed 8 new members to the department 2 weeks ago. As everyone knows, education and schools have always been very close to my heart. Working with the school committee, we developed plans for the reopening of the Fall River schools through a hybrid model. We helped to secure funding for Chromebooks and hotspots to ensure all the kids had access to remote learning. I thank our private sector partners, Amazon, Verizon, and Comcast, for giving back to this community and meeting our students' needs. Today, we have returned our elementary and middle school students to hybrid learning, with Durfee students returning in the next few weeks. We have strengthened city oversight at the Durfee construction site and are still planning for our fall opening. I truly believe this school will be an asset for generations of our students to come. We have improved all of our school buildings across the city, not just Durfee. Progress is being made on the drainage and roads at Talbot Middle School. Henry Lord, we're working towards a second means of egress, and also one is being finalized for something similar at Sylvia. Among other projects, our Resiliency Preparatory Academy has improved their handicap accessibility and replaced the roof. Watson received a new roof and windows, and there are a number of ADA renovations in plans. Looking at our infrastructure, we completed 2 major sidewalk replacement projects in our city, one at Kennedy Park and one at North Park. Our roads have been improved across the city. To continue this work, we eliminated the streetscape program and transferred funding to street and sidewalks repairs, creating a fund right now of close to $5 million. It was the goal of my administration to make sure that no developers or contractors were taking advantage of the city. Our planning and engineering departments have been diligent in their oversight of new developments, along with reviewing those already in existence. We worked alongside the Fall River State Delegation to obtain a $1 million grant for the Flint, which we hope will make a huge difference in tackling beautification and rehabilitation of Pleasant Street. And we are currently transitioning to parking kiosks that have the ability to take credit cards as a way to simplify downtown parking. We have made improvements to a number of our parks. The CDA has been leading several projects, including the renovation of the Etna Street Park, which was dedicated to Paul Poulos. We have also made upgrades at Chew Park, and plans have been established for the rehabilitation of the Damaris Playground, as well as the Kathy Assad Tot Lot. And one of my priorities, improving the quality of life in our city. While COVID did make it nearly impossible for us to hold events, we managed to provide a few safe activities for our families. Over the summer, we organized several drive-in movies at Durfee to provide residents with outdoor recreation. In December, we kept holiday traditions alive with a Santa's Rolling Parade. I'm grateful for the team at Recreation for their hard work in helping us find a unique way to celebrate. We also worked with Fall River Government Television and Narrows to bring the Sons of Serendip in for a live holiday concert, which was broadcast across homes in the South Coast, showing the region what Fall River has to offer. And I also like to thank Bay Coast Bank for helping us sponsor that event. And most recently, we have helped the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition create the Winter Bridge at Gramada Plaza to provide safe outdoor activities for Fall River families. In May, we will be dedicating the Vietnam Memorial Wall at Bicentennial Park. We also recently renamed the Veterans Center on Pine Street in honor of Kenneth Boyer. But another key part of improving quality of life is prioritizing health, wellness, and social services. We strengthened our Department of Public Health by transferring a clerk and replacing her with another registered nurse. This was crucial during the busiest days of the pandemic. We reorganized the Mayor's Opioid Task Force under the title of the Fall River Substance Abuse Task Force, which we hope to ramp up more quickly as COVID wanes. We created a new street outreach program embedded in the police department to help non-offending drug users access treatment and to assist our homeless population in finding support they need. These specialists have done an amazing job getting people the services they desperately need. We established Fall River's first permanent overflow shelter at the homeless place down on Bay Street known as Solomon's Porch. This is a tremendous asset to our city. We have provided additional funding for Stepping Stone and the First Step In. Another priority of mine has been caring for our veterans. Last year, we combined CARES Act funding and the Office of Veteran Services funding to provide $100,000 for the VABC for a job training program for veterans. Together with the CDA, we also renovated a property at 32 Bradford Avenue into 3 units of veterans housing, with more to follow. We did so by reinstituting the Building Blocks program, which has allowed us to make plans to rehabilitate many vacant and abandoned properties across the city, keeping our neighborhoods safe and getting homes back on our tax rolls. Good government allows the city to function at its full potential. We've eliminated unnecessary city boards, we've combined government positions in this building, and we're trying to save taxpayer money. We're strengthening our online and off-site payment options. We collaborated with Bay Coast Bank to allow residents to pay city bills off-site, which has been a very helpful partnership. And we've utilized grant funding to provide ADA renovations to this very chamber and our city council hearing room. We instituted a city vehicle policy to reduce the personal use of our city-owned vehicles. And we created a new joint position in partnership with the Fall River Housing Authority and the CDA, which is the Minority Outreach Coordinator. With him at the lead, we've established Fall River's first ever diversity committee. We've hired hearings officers and reestablished municipal hearings to address litter enforcement and minimum housing violations. And we joined with one of our partners, UMass, to bring law interns to assist with abandoned properties and other legal issues. In the area of city finances, we presently have over $2 million in our free cash account. On January 1, 2020, our stabilization fund was around $7 million, and it is currently well over $9 million. Last year, after 3 months of month-to-month budgets, my budget was presented to the City Council, and with their help, it was approved. We're working with our finance team, and the city is still on track financially to meet the fiscal year 2021 budget projections. Working with our Insurance Advisory Committee and the Public Employees Committee, we developed cost-saving strategy by moving some of our retirees to Medicare and Medex, saving the city health insurance costs and providing our retirees with additional benefits. And we continue to work with the City Council and the School Committee to make sure we meet 100% of net school spending. In February of 21, we worked with the Massachusetts Financial Oversight Board and sold bonds at one of the lowest rates in the city's history. The city's allocation of CARES money was nearly $8 million, and the city continues to work with departments to best utilize those remaining funds. And we continue to negotiate with city unions to provide fair, equitable contracts, which brings us to economic development. I want you all to know the city of Fall River is seeing a boom in our local real estate market. Many residential properties are selling as soon as they hit the market for well over asking price. Many overlooked properties in all corners of our city are being repurposed as market rate housing developments. Thanks in part to local developers like Anthony Cadero, Robert Karam, and Alan Cumber, we have a number of active projects across our city. Some of those examples include the downtown lofts at the Ben and Nathan Building on 3rd Street, the residences on Highland Avenue, which was obviously formerly the Adams House, and plans are in the works to repurpose the Notre Dame Rectory and the International Garment Workers Union Building for market rate and workforce housing. Mills on Alden and Globe Mills Avenues are being renovated as well. These are just a few examples of recent and ongoing housing developments in Fall River. We are also nearing the end of a long journey supporting the sale of the Bank Street Armory and the rehabilitation. We have state approval to make the sale and are currently drawing up the purchase and sale agreements. The developer plans to make the Armory into a venue for weddings, fairs as such, which we hope will bring more traffic to downtown Fall River. We've obtained a $1 million grant from the Seaport Council for Phase 2 of the city pier. This will make the pier safe for public use. The RDA is in the process of achieving this next phase of the rehabilitation. Because of the ongoing developments of the waterfront and the incoming commuter rail, the waterfront is seeing heightened interest from commercial and residential mixed-use developers. A new 6-story building on Duval Street is being developed for 49 market-rate units with commercial space on the first floor. The South Coast Rail project, which has driven much of the renewed interest in our city, is moving along, setting for completion in 2023. In the North End, the city has worked together with the Redevelopment Authority to solidify the expansion of Ross Seafood in the industrial park and facilitate Nantucket Seafood coming in as a new tenant. We also worked with Liberty Utilities to relocate them to the industrial park, also in the Homeland building there, and assisted with the sale of their property on Anawan Street to the RDA. The city is working to support the expansion of existing businesses also, such as U.S. Mattress, which is moving to the former Sam's Club site late this spring, right now, and bringing over 100 new jobs to Fall River. The CDA, the RDA, and the Bristol County Economic Development Consultants assisted with the allocation of almost $1.2 million of CARES Act funding to support small and medium-sized businesses with both job creation and retention. And we worked with our partners at TDI and One South Coast Chamber to promote outdoor dining. By utilizing grant funding, the city distributed heaters to extend the outdoor dining season for some of our restaurants. We plan to continue to support outdoor dining as we approach the spring. As we begin the second year of the Coogan administration, we will be focused on the following priorities, which I believe will move the city of Fall River forwards, hoping it to meet its full potential. I want to make a visible progress in revitalizing our downtown and Pleasant Street commercial districts by adding market-rate housing and supporting mixed-use development while improving and filling our vacant storefronts. I would like to return to the days of bustling downtown with plenty of foot traffic. As we look to another round of federal stimulus funding, I want to use those funds for streets, sidewalks, and infrastructure projects. I want to improve the livability of our city by supporting our arts and cultural economy through the revitalization of the Bank Street Armory, the improvements of what is now the Durfee Auditorium, and the growth of our waterfront cultural district. I also look forward to planning and supporting community events as soon as we are able to. Every choice I make as mayor works towards goals like these. I ran my campaign with a vision of a city government where everyone feels included. I had a vision of providing residents easy access to this building, to my office, and to myself. But COVID-19 has changed that. Not only has it consumed much of my time here, but it's restricted me from doing what I love most, what drove me into this office. It has restricted me from being with all of you. We are no longer holding cookouts, clam boils, or chow mein sandwich luncheons. I can't drop in on fundraisers or classrooms, and visitation at City Hall has been restricted to essential services for most customers. I believe that in the last year, while we were all isolated and lived our lives online, we lost touch with the hope and unity that this city felt in early 2020. I have seen a troubling trend of residents turning to patterns of distrust, disrespect, and division. It is so easy to villainize and hate, especially when in recent history we have had our leaders fail us and embarrass us on a national and local scale. But when I have a moment to message someone who leaves an aggressive comment on my page, or when I bump into someone at a grocery store and they ask me about something that confused them or even upset them, we always try to reach an understanding. I believe when people escape the confines of the internet and interact as we were meant to, with humanity, respect, and understanding, they remember the hope the city felt in January of last year. They remember why I was elected. They remember that my love for the city and my urge to do what is right for Fall River guides me in everything I do. Far too often, hate and mistrust clouds our judgment. My biggest fear is if we give in to those things, instead of coming to understandings and treating people with respect and trust, we will remain in a pattern of negativity that as a city we desperately need to escape. So as I close my statements tonight, and as we come together to look for a more normal future, I want to make this message very, very clear. I urge you all to trust in a brighter tomorrow for Fall River and to treat others with dignity and respect. I hope you still raise your voices and share your opinions, even if they're not positive towards me. But I urge you to do so truthfully and to seek clear thoughts instead of only always seeking the negative. As we go forward, I once again promise you that I will continue to work hard, act out of my love for the city, and commit my administration to integrity and transparency. We are on the cusp of something very, very special in Fall River, and I am very excited about the future and what it's going to bring. Good night, and God bless the city of Fall River. Thank you.
Cliff.
I like the last comment.
Good job, buddy.
Members of the school committee, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Made by Mr. Hart, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Corey. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Agia?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson? Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Ms. Larrabee? Mayor Coogan?
Is there a motion to adjourn this full council?
made.
Motion made by Councilor Kilby, seconded by Councilor Peckham. We don't need to do roll calls anymore, do we? It's everything. Motion has been made and seconded. Hearing no further discussion, the ayes have it.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.